following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I've heard that before even that, and probably a couple of times too. Anyways, today is Friday, May the 12th of 2023, day 132nd of the year, and only 233 days left to go. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. Why is there a picture of me on there? That's not what I want. Anyways, so there you go. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, just so you know. We couldn't be any liver. Yeah, that makes no sense. Anyways, we are also hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place. Radio. So welcome to the multiverse, because that's where we are, that's what we're hanging, that's where we're banging, we're doing all the kind of fun stuff that we are doing. Anyways, it is Freeform Friday, so you say it, I flaunt it, and then we kind of post it somewhere for you to take a gander of all the fun stuff and cool stuff that we get to do, because that's what we do around here. There is no doubt about that. So today, yes, as we're doing the stuff, a lot of stuff has happened in the last 24 hours. We're going to talk a little bit about everything, because that's what we do on a Freeform Friday. We are a show that is based in safety in the news and safety. It gets a little bit wilder on Fridays as we just randomly talk about whatever shit comes into our head, because why would we not do that? We are also on radio stations across the multiverse here, radiobig.fm, safetyfm.com. You can do that. You can do the apps. You can do the streamer-emers. Yes, this is hour one of 3 hours that takes place. Only the first hour is on video. Thank goodness, because who would want to be on video for 3 hours? So there you go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk. We talk a little bit about everything. If you want to interact with the show, kind of an easy way to do so. Callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That will get everything moving and grooving inside of there, because why else would we be doing this? I don't know. Maybe we just lost our mind, or we're just in the garden. Anyways, it looks like all the streamer-emers are up and running today, because, you know, some days you take a look around and go, oh, yeah, that streaming service does not seem to be working. Neither does that one. Oh, or that one. And, you know, people tend to get upset, and I just kind of get weirded out about it because, hey, listen, I got no control over some of this stuff. Just kind of the way that it goes. So anyways, that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look around at the ends of the trends and all that stuff, Elon Musk picks a new CEO. And for Twitter, and residents of Des Moines suburb can rest easy knowing that rodents assailants have been relocated. I guess we'll know about that more as we talk. More details about Robert De Niro's seventh child. And New York Jets get some primetime games with new quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So we'll talk about that. What else? GMA replacements have been revealed, and Meadow Walker follows in her dad's footsteps. We'll talk about that as we start getting into casting calls. And Adidas has finally decided to what to do with the Yeezys. We'll talk about that and all that kind of fun stuff, because why wouldn't we do all of that? So that is for sure so. Yes, for sure so, as we are talking. So with that being said, let's bring in the pro broadcasters. Let them tell you about what the hell is going on, because why wouldn't we do that? So let's get started with the news right now. No, seriously, let's do that. Let's do the news. No, I mean, just do it right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The Biden administration is being sued over a new U.S. rule restricting asylum seekers' immigration rights. Groups represented by the ACLU filed a legal challenge in federal court Thursday, just minutes before the new rule was to take effect. The groups claim a new rule dramatically curtails the availability of asylum in the U.S. The House has approved a Republican bill aimed at securing the U.S.-Mexico border. More from Mark Mayfield.
Speaker Kevin McCarthy called it the strongest border security bill the country has ever seen. He accused President Biden of producing no plan to address the influx of migrants at the border. The Republican measure would finish former President Trump's border wall and restrict access to asylum, among other changes. The bill stands little chance of making it through the Democratic-controlled Senate, and the White House issued a veto threat against it earlier this week. I'm Mark Mayfield.
A meeting on the debt ceiling between President Biden and congressional leaders scheduled for today is being postponed. Brian Shook reports.
That's according to the Washington Post, which cited sources familiar with the matter. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries had all been expected to take part in the meeting. That same group sat down with Biden in the Oval Office earlier this week as the June 1st deadline to raise the nation's debt limit draws nearer.
New York writer E. Jean Carroll is considering filing a new defamation suit against former President Trump. Carroll's lawyer says everything is on the table following Trump's appearance at this week's town hall event. During the event, Trump called Carroll's claim that he sexually assaulted her in the 1990s fake and a made-up story. President Biden will deliver the commencement speech tomorrow for the graduating class at Howard University. The head of the historically black university says they're excited to welcome the president and recognize him for his relentless work uplifting our communities that have been historically left behind. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
The U.S. Supreme Court is rejecting a challenge to California's law that requires the humane confinement of pigs that are intended for market. Animal Wellness Action President Wayne Palesi is applauding the rule.
This is vindication, and the Supreme Court did the right thing by upholding the state's right to set animal cruelty and food safety standards.
Thursday's ruling preserves the law that keeps pigs from being confined in small cages. The National Pork Producers Council and the American Farm Bureau Federation sued to invalidate the law. They argued the measure violated a U.S. Constitution provision called the Commerce Clause, a position that was rejected by the justices of the High Court. Peloton is recalling over 2 million exercise bikes because the seat can break while in use. Patty Davis, the spokesperson for the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, says Peloton has issued instructions for how people can fix their bike if part of the recall.
Peloton is offering a free repair, and what that involves is a new seat post that you can install yourself. Peloton has a video on its website that will walk you through step by step.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission announced that there have been 35 reports of the seat detaching and 13 injury reports. The bikes with model number PL01 were sold from January 2018 through this month from Peloton, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Amazon, and retail for about $1,400. The NFL is releasing its full 2023 regular season schedule. Trey Thomas with more.
The defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs kick off the season on September 7th against the Detroit Lions at Arrowhead Stadium. Aaron Rodgers makes his New York Jets debut the same week against the Buffalo Bills on September 11th. Meanwhile, a Super Bowl rematch is slated for November 20th when the Chiefs host the Philadelphia Eagles.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, there you go. Currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are doing the gig. Yes, doing the gig on this lovely Friday. Freeform Friday is normally what it looks like as we are hanging and banging and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. Yep, we are still broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando. Yes, that's Orlando, Florida, just in case if you're wondering. So there you go. Anyway, so let's start talking about it. Elon Musk says that he is stepping down as Twitter CEO. In a tweet, Musk implied that he's an unidentified woman would take the reins in about 6 weeks, and that he'll stay on as the chief technology officer and remain hands-on with the product development and systems operations. The news bumped up Tesla's stock by 2%. So there you go. A 2% uppity, as you're taking a listen to that. So what do you think? Do you really think that he'll step away, or will he still be kind of involved with a lot more behind the scenes? I mean, we've heard about this stuff of people stepping away before.
Duh.
And it doesn't really seem to end up taking place.
Duh.
So there's some stuff to think about as we are talking. Anyway, take a listen to this. Customers and creditors hoping to get some of their money out of FTX's restructuring will likely have to get in line behind the Internal Revenue Service. The IRS has filed 44 claims worth about $45 billion against the crypto exchange. The vast web subsidiary, almost half of their payroll taxes are unpaid, and income taxes on the Alameda Research Hedge Fund as the center of the corruption. Go figure. Under the administrative authority rule, the IRS has the first crack at any money that gets paid out to any of the creditors or customers. This is via Cointelegraph. I mean, I don't know if this is kind of an amazing story or anything. If you don't know this, I want you to be aware that if you get into a car accident, I'm going to use this as an example, and you damage anything put up by the city, and the city gets to your insurance company because it's your fault before the other, let's say, vehicle owner does, the city's probably going to get the money first. This is kind of the way that it works out. So of course they're going to have first, quote unquote, let's just call them dibs on the moolah. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad here because I don't want to get crucified, but you know how that goes. It's just one of the things that that's the way that it works out. The government's going to get the taste first.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying.
He is trying to be entertaining.
Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this. It was mentioned, earlier within the hour, but let's talk about it anyways. Peloton is recalling 2 million exercise bikes over the concerns the seat post can break while in use. Now, think about that for a moment. The company issued a recall after receiving more than 35 reports on part detaching from the machine during use. Of those, 13 users suffered injuries. I would like to know what kind of injuries they suffered, which included fractured wrists, laceration, and or bruises. Is there a butt bruise there? I want to ask. Worth remembering, Peloton issued a major recall back in 2021 on its Tread Plus treadmills after a child was sucked underneath the machine and then later died. But think about this. I mean, the other news story went into as far as saying, oh, yes, there is a recall, and opposed to you sending the product to us, what we want you to do is repair the shit yourself. Now, think about this. You're paying $1,500 for this thing or so. And I don't know how that works in your world, but in my world, that's a lot of money. And all of a sudden now me, little old me, has to do the reparations, the repairs of something. I don't know if that's going to be suitable for the things that I do. I mean, not something that is in my wheelhouse of being able to repair something, and especially if I expect somebody to use it afterwards.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. There is a neighborhood dispute brewing in Burns Beach, Western Australia over, well, what else? Meat! Yes. According to the Perth Now, a homeowner received a letter asking that he shut his windows when cooking meat out of respect of the plant-eating neighbors. I'm not joking as I say this. Please take this seriously was written across the envelope, and it contains a letter reading, "My family are vegan. We eat only plant-based foods, and the smell of meat that you cook makes us feel sick and upset." The letter, which made rounds on Facebook, has garnered hundreds of comical reactions, including one that reads, "I bet her mouth starts watering when old mate mows his lawn," and then she sniffs the whiff of the delicious fresh cut of grass. One word of whether the recipient of the letter will respect the ask or organize a neighborhood barbecue. Who knows? A lot of stuff comes to mind. So, does not like the smell of meat. Kind of interesting. I mean, do you really go out in public a lot once you think about that? I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird ones when you really think about it. You don't like the smell of meat.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. It's coming out of Des Moines. Suburb is now safe from rabid rapids that have been terrorizing the residents. According to KCCI, 2 people were bitten by the rodent, while countless others reported that the animal charging at them and then chasing them, blocking them from their exiting their homes and vehicles. A 13-year-old girl reportedly got rabies after being attacked. Police were finally able to catch the assailant and have since then relocated him out of the neighborhood. So far, he has not returned. So hold on. You relocated it? I mean, what did you do? Put it on a different planet? I mean, you are aware that animals most of the time are able to get back to wherever the hell they were. I mean, it's just kind of the way that it goes inside of the equation. Just bringing that up there as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, I think it is time to bring in the John of the Smalls because why not? It is time to talk about the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, May 12th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets continue to wrestle with what the new normal means for stocks long term. With the rate of the 10-year Treasury above 3%, it's all too easy to get S&P 500 beating yield with little to no risk. This is a headwind for stocks that may cap gains indefinitely, regardless of their performance. This situation is unlikely to change without changing the inflation outlook, which remains hot. The CPI index cooled slightly compared to the previous month, but not substantially. Next week brings another hurdle for the markets. Not only is there a raft of economic data to include retail sales, housing data, and the index of leading indicators, but Q1 results are due for the big retailers. Retailers have been struggling with shifting consumer habits, bloating inventory, and a tepid outlook for growth that is not expected to change. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information on the things that are going on because, listen, you say it as it is in regards to what is happening. Anyway, so let me tell you real quick what I was able to find on my side of the equation. It goes something like this. The Dow lost about 221 points to close at 33,309. The S&P lost about 7%. To close at 4,130, and the NASDAQ added about 22 points to close at 12,328. West Texas Intermediate closed at $71 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $74 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.53, and Bitcoin was down 2% on Thursday, dipping just below $27,000. There was more than 3,990 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, with only about 110 cancellations. So, woohoo, not that many canceled. So there you go. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $99 million jackpot or a $52.1 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for, let's say, $125 million jackpot or a $67.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, it is time to do so. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't you play the game? Something to think about as we are talking. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's get into some more info coming out of the newsroom. Mayor Michael Hancock on Thursday is warning about the cuts of the city services could be coming if leaders in Washington fail to respond to the influx of migrants that are coming in from Central and South America.
Denver residents shouldn't lose the services and resources they depend on and pay for with their tax dollars because Congress and the federal government are failing to do their jobs.
$20 that they forgot to mention North America, coming in from North America because they got confused on that one, but that's something else. Hancock says that Denver spent $16 million to accommodate more than 10,000 migrants since December. The federal government has only reimbursed the city less than 10% of that cost. It's a crisis that only has been elevated with the end of Title 42, a policy which prevented people who are seeking asylum from coming to the U.S. Mayor Hancock once again called on churches and nonprofits to help by providing emergency shelter space and called for people who would like to volunteer their time to reach out. The city says that more than 8,000 migrants have arrived to Denver just this week. A single mom with kids from Venezuela says that her 2 months that it took her 2 months traveling through several different countries to get to Denver.
My hope is, first, find a job and work and give my children a better future since I didn't have that possibility in Venezuela.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on as people are talking on what they are attempting to do as they get here. So there you go. Anyway, some Chicago residents are suing over the city's plan to use migrants as a shuttered South Shore High School on its city south side. Take a listen to what Perry Williams have to say.
The lawsuit filed by residents seeks a temporary emergency restraining order against the plan.
Stakeholders are extremely dismayed by the City of Chicago's inability to control and develop safe parameters around housing migrants that have been transported here from the border.
The suit claims the plan violates the city's lease agreement with the building. Community members have expressed concerns that resources being spent to help the migrants should be used to tackle issues of inequality in the area. I'm Perry Williams.
Okay, thank you, Perry Williams, for what exactly is going on, because we need to know that. A debt limit meeting, let's see, a debt limit meeting between President Joe Biden and top lawmakers had been scheduled for Friday, has been postponed, with the leaders agreeing to meet next week. And Real has more on this information.
Top aides to Biden and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy met Wednesday and Thursday to discuss raising the debt ceiling. McCarthy told reporters that the delay was not a sign of trouble in the talks, but that he believed the staff negotiators who had been meeting this week needed to continue to talk before the principals met again. White House officials acknowledged that they must accept some spending cuts or strict caps on future spending if they're able to strike a deal, while insisting they must preserve Biden's signature climate legislation that passed along party lines last year. Talks on raising the government's $31 trillion debt ceiling in order to avoid economic catastrophe must be sorted by June 1st. That is the so-called X date, when the U.S. government will no longer be able to meet its financial obligations and will have to default on its debt. Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Okay, so there you go, debt defaulting. Maybe somebody needs to call Dave Ramsey up and see if he can help them with their finances, just an idea. Anyways, take a listen to this. 2 people are dead and 3 others are wounded following a shooting in Chicago's South Side. Police say the 2 people exited a vehicle yesterday and began shooting at a group of people that were standing in his block of 600 West 61st Place. Take a listen.
At least 2 individuals exited that vehicle and fired several rounds down the street.
I mean, what the hell happens? You just get out of the car and go, hey, I think it's a good idea to play shoot 'em up. I mean, I just don't get it. But hey, I guess it's a different world sometimes as we are talking some of this stuff. It is 29 minutes past top of the hour. Let's continue talking a little bit more here. The man on a video using a deadly chokehold on New York City subway train expected to turn himself in today to face the charges. Scott Pringle has what's going on.
The Manhattan District Attorney's Office says it will charge Marine veteran Daniel Penny with second-degree manslaughter in the death of Jordan Neely. Witnesses say Neely, who has mental health challenges, was acting up and threatening subway riders before Penny applied the deadly chokehold last week. Attorneys representing Penny say their client risked his life to protect New Yorkers, and the unfortunate result was the unintended death of Jordan Neely. Well, protesters out again last night, and they criticized Mayor Eric Adams for not condemning the use of a chokehold.
Justice for Jordan Neely! Justice for Jordan Neely!
Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for the information on what is going on inside of the Aquajon right there. An incident at the U.S.-Mexico international border just south of San Diego has left the border agents facing some serious charges. Take a listen.
Federal prosecutors say a U.S. Border Patrol agent who agreed to take $25,000 in bribes now facing federal bribery and attempted drug distribution charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 55-year-old Hector Hernandez of Chula Vista accused of agreeing to let an undocumented migrant across the U.S.-Mexico border illegally at the San Isidro port of entry. Prosecutors say he also agreed to deliver methamphetamine in exchange for cash. I'm Phil Farrar.
Thank you, Phil, for that one. What the hell's going on over there? I mean, seriously, like $25,000. Like, you didn't think that was going to go unnoticed and then deliver methamphetamine? I mean, come on, man. What the hell's going on? Anyways, immigration rights groups are suing Biden administration over the new U.S. rule restricting asylum seekers. Mark Mayfield has more info.
The groups, represented by the ACLU, filed a legal challenge in federal court just minutes before the new rule was set to take effect on Thursday. Immigration advocates say the new Biden regulation dramatically curtails the availability of asylum in the U.S. and is similar to Trump-era policies that were blocked in court. The Biden administration put the new rule in place to curb illegal immigration following the end of the Title 42 COVID restrictions. I'm Mark Mayfield.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a mixture of a little bit of everything as we are talking. There is no doubt about that. I don't know. I mean, you can stand on any side of the aisle and go right, wrong, indifferent, depending on where you say, and, whatever filter you're deciding to put on there as we are talking. Anyways, take a listen to this. Missouri lawmakers are sending controversial transgender-related registration to Governor Mike Parsons. Daniel Mert of St. Louis, parent with transgender teen, says that it should be up to them and their child to decide what is best for their health care.
The path that my child was on before we got to the gender center was the wrong path, and it's devastating to know that other kids aren't going to have access to that same health care.
House Republican approved the measure that would limit gender-affirming care for minors. House lawmakers also separately signed off on legislation that would require transgender athletes to play the sports and the teams aligned with the sex on their birth certificate. Parsons is expected to sign the restriction. The Kansas City Council Committee approved a resolution taking a step towards becoming a sanctuary city for gender-affirming care on Thursday. The Kansas City resolution isn't a formal law or regulation, but it says that the city won't prosecute or fine any person or organization that seeks, provides, receives, or helps someone with care such as puberty blocker hormones and surgery. Political analyst Anita Manson says the controversial transgender-related legislation will have a domino effect.
At a time where Missouri and St. Louis are losing population, these sort of restrictive laws can contribute to more population loss because people want to be in a state where they can get the care that they want.
Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas talks about the landslide passing of the Safe Haven ordinance that will lead to change for the whole state of Missouri.
I think similarly to bans we've seen on abortion, this puts doctors in a position of trying to figure out what the law is and what care they can offer their patients.
I think that 11-1 is pretty good in terms of a vote today, but I think that the more people actually think about this, talk to people, talk to families, I think that will change even more.
How can that change more? It's already voted on 11-1. I mean, think about that. If it's already voted, so what, are we talking a 12-0? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a weird commentary. So it passed 11-1. We're gonna vote again, and see if it can get a 12-0 mark. Okay, got it. Strange time sometimes when it comes to some of the info that's going on. Anyway, so there you go, 34 minutes past the top of the hour. So, we do this little thing that we normally do during this segment. But guess what? On Friday, it doesn't go in that same ordinance. So let's do it differently.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. Russia is denying reports of a Ukrainian breakthrough on parts of the front line near the eastern city of Bakhmut. It comes as NATO countries are under growing pressure to offer more weapons to aid the Ukrainian counter-offensive. The UK became the first ally to donate long-range cruise missiles. Kira Rudik, leader of Ukraine's Holos Party, says the Storm Shadow missiles are crucial in the fight against Russia.
We here in Ukraine are extremely happy. It's super good news, and this is one step further towards the victory, towards the end of the war. Because you know what's going to happen next. Many will follow you. And this happened with so many other kinds of weapons, when we just need somebody brave to step up and say, yeah, we will do that. We will do that because it is the right thing. And then so many politicians, so many countries would follow that, bringing us closer. This is so incredibly important for us.
Finance ministers from the world's richest G7 countries are focusing on global security concerns on day 2 of their summit in Japan after the US debt ceiling crisis dominated the first round of talks. The meeting will lay the groundwork for the G7 Leaders Summit next week. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
The meeting comes on the heels of the collapse of several banks in the US and Europe, and finance chiefs want to bolster confidence in the sector. They'll also debate increasing sanctions on Russia, particularly capping the price of oil imports, in an effort to drain resources for its war efforts in Ukraine. Reducing trade alliance with China will also be high on the agenda as G7 countries look to pivot the manufacture of supposedly green technology to so-called Global South countries. Due to the sensitivity of the discussions, the Finance Summit is securely behind closed doors, and there is anticipation for the results of the talks to be announced in a joint statement when a 3-day meeting wraps up.
Pakistan's ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan is seeking bail after being taken into custody earlier this week as part of ongoing corruption proceedings. The country's Supreme Court later called the arrest unlawful. Ishan Garg reports.
Imran Khan is calling for his supporters to gather outside the Islamabad High Court as he seeks a pre-arrest bail. He's also expected to address his followers, many of whom have taken to the streets since Khan was arrested earlier this week. Khan is facing a raft of corruption charges from the time he was the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He's denied those charges and says the country's government, led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, plans to arrest him so that he cannot contest the country's general elections. Analysts say his arrest, if continues, could push Pakistan to the edge of a major political turmoil at a time when the country is working to secure a bailout package from the International Monetary Fund as it faces a severe economic crisis.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking again today at Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, who was arrested earlier this week on corruption charges, only to see the country's Supreme Court rule on Thursday that his detention was illegal. It's the latest twist and turn in an ongoing battle between Mr. Khan, ousted from power a year ago, and the current government. At stake, the timetable for the country's elections and the independence of the Pakistani judiciary.
The Supreme Court is actually, there is quite a bit of respect for the Supreme Court, but what's been happening lately is that this current government has curtailed the powers of the Supreme Court.
Mahtab Aziz is a UK lawyer who has represented Imran Khan in the past and says he's worried about the days ahead in Pakistan.
If you recall, there was an attempted assassination previously, and it has always been assumed that there will be multiple attempts at assassinating. That was just the first one. And then they tried to do it again previously in March when he was attending, like the situation now, when he attended court, they tried to assassinate him, but he managed to somehow escape. I really, truly fear for his life.
For now, the former Prime Minister is being forced to remain in a government guest house, even though the Supreme Court ruled that he should be freed immediately. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Russia is denying reports of a Ukrainian breakthrough on parts of the front line near the eastern city of Bakhmut. G7 finance ministers are focusing on global security concerns on day 2 of their summit in Japan after the US debt ceiling crisis dominated the first round of talks. And Pakistan's ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan is seeking bail after being taken into custody earlier this week. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large Gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. Hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. No doubt about that. This one is Top of the World by Tiger Run. You can give it a little stream on Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube Music. Yeah, some good times going on right now, for sure. Yeah, you know, some indie rock. Who doesn't want to go with that? Go easy. Yeah, thanks, Tiger Run, for this one. Okay, so let's get into the move and the groove of the things that we have going on. And listen, I think that right now is probably, you know, the greatest time to have this discussion because we need to talk about it. We need to talk about mental health. And listen, I know there's a whole month dedicated to it, which is this month. That's fine. Good for the people that want to talk about something for a month. As like us over here, we like to talk about this every single day because it's that important. It's that important to talk about. I'm going to tell you about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. They can help you. Yes, they can help you if you're looking for help. No doubt about that. All you have to do is go to do the following. Go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. Once you get there, simple process. Click on the section very giant towards the top right-hand side where it says Find Help. There's a self-care section too, but there's a section that says Find Help. All kinds of numbers available right there. Different key categories depending on what you're looking for. No doubt about that. So go there, TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. They have all kinds of help for addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support and resources, and all kinds of different stuff. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That will get everything going for you. No doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the multiverse, because why would we not do that? Of course. So let's start talking right away about some things that are happening. Movies this week, if you're interested. The book club comes out called The Next Chapter. Rally Road Racers comes out today as well. And Blackberry, you know, the story about Mike and Jim, the men who charted the courses of the spectacular rise and catastrophic demise of the world's first smartphone. So that's available right there. So no splitting bills. Take a listen to this. A solo dining restaurant has just opened in Toronto, Ontario. The Yunnan Noodle Shack bills. Yep. Itself as the city's first solitary dining restaurant. It doesn't mean that you're allowed to come and eat alone. It means that only one option. Chef and co-owner Andrew Sue says that everything about the place, including the atmosphere, the music, the service, and even the food are just all background. And the restaurant is there to let you have a conversation with yourself. Solo diner who dropped in will see 25 individual wooden dining stations set in rows with dividers separating them from the next diner. A framed QR code brings up the menu and a set button at the table with the option of bills, call, and water. You can also order and pay online. So if you're eating alone, how do you stay occupied? Well, you can place your phone in a holder and stream Netflix or YouTube while you eat, of course. So hold on. Just like my teenager in any restaurant, I guess, is one way to look at it. And that's probably exactly there for prom night. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, so there you go. Interesting stuff as always as we are talking. We got a lot of stuff to do because we have little time and a lot of stuff. So let's do it in this fashion. Why don't we start off with the Motivation Minute with John Smalls from the John and Heidi Show. Take a listen.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Cheryl. Jordan Peterson said, "A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who has it under voluntary control." What a powerful quote. Think about that. Let's talk about this in terms of cars. Would you rather drive a car that can only go 55 miles per hour, or would you like to have one that can go over 100 miles per hour? But you choose to keep it at a speed that you need to go. Just because it does go that fast doesn't mean you need to drive it that fast, but you have the capability to if you need to for some reason. There's something comforting in knowing that you have the ability and you keep it under voluntary control. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. If you have ever considered meditation or been meditating, here are a couple of important things to remember. Our conscious experience moves back and forth along the continuum between perception and disassociation according to many factors. Perception itself has two axes: interoception, which is a focus on our bodily sensations and internal thoughts, and exteroception, which is a perceptual focus of events beyond the confines of our skin. Knowing where you are on these continuums is essential to selecting the best meditational practice. Also, keep in mind that what is best can and does change from day to day and even across the day. Recognizing your state in a structured way and deciding where you want to be mentally and physically when you exit the meditation is essential for best practice. For more information on wellness, check out alessamorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. We must not turn inward in search of significance, for we'll never find it within ourselves. Nor do we dare turn outward, hoping to find personal validation through our achievements. There is simply not enough success in the world to satisfy the heart's hunger for significance. Our search for significance ends only when we look backward to the cross and upward to the throne. Through the finished work of Jesus, we have been transformed into persons of worth and dignity. We are people of significance because we are significant to God. Lord, help us to realize that we are significant because we are the children of God. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this fantastic, very fantastic Friday. Taking a look around at some things that are going on, or maybe some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look, let's dive in to see what exactly we can find here. Back in 2020, Russia confirmed cases of COVID-19 reaches about 232,000, second highest in the world. The number is reported a day after President Putin eases the country's lockdown. So there you go. That happened back in 2020. What else are we seeing here? Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Luke Benward turns 28. Malcolm David Kelly turns 31. Emily Van Camp, yes, that actress from Revenge. Oh, yes. She turns 37 today. Rami Malek turns 42. Kim Fields, 54. Tony Hawk turns 55. Stephen Baldwin, 57. And Emilio Estevez, yeah, he turns 61 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, we have some of those for you as well. It's International Nurses Day, Shades Day, National Nutty Fudge Day, hey now, National Public Gardens Day, National Limerick Day, National Philemporian Awareness Day, and National Odometer Day. What do you do on National Odometer Day? Are you just checking out what the hell's going on with the odometer? I mean, I guess that's an option if you really get bored in life. Let's talk about, did you know milk is better drink for hydration than water, according to a new study. Researchers in Scotland's St. Andrews University compared the hydration responses of several different drinks, finding that while water does a pretty good job of quickly hydrating the body, beverages with little bit of sugar, fat, or protein do even better job at keeping us hydrated for longer. Still looks funny when you douse yourself, your face through it, though. I mean, so just something to think about as we are talking. So there you go. There you go. By the way, if you forgot, Sunday is Mother's Day in the U.S., so you might want to give some consideration if you have not purchased a present yet. So there you go. Let's talk about some whack facts real quick. Earth spins at the speed of about 1,000 miles per hour, just so you know. Earth travels around the sun at the speed of 67,000 miles per hour. In the script, Arnold Schwarzenegger's classic Terminator's lines like, "I'll come back." Not that I'll be back. Lines like, "I'll come back." Let's see. Overly tight ponytails and man buns can cause bald spots, just so you know. Rabbits can growl, hiss, and purr like a cat. And depending on who is sniffing, a man's sweat can smell like urine, flour, vanilla, or sweat. So there you go. It all depends on who's doing the snifferama. So there's some things to think about for sure. So there you go. A lot of stuff. Do we have any news stories that we need to sneak in real quick before we get out of here? Let's do this one real quick. There has been a dozen of asylum seekers now in a hotel in Orange County, despite the country's effort to try to block New York City from sending migrants. Take a listen to this.
Asylum seekers arrived Thursday at the Crossroads Hotel in Newburgh as part of New York City's temporary migrant relocation program. Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse not happy about it.
It's a complete mess, and the government has not been forthright and honest with us. We were misled by the city of New York.
Meanwhile, Rockland County was granted a temporary restraining order against New York City's plan to send hundreds of migrants to a hotel in Orangeburg. Mayor Eric Adams says he'll continue to fight legal hurdles in an effort to send migrants to the Hudson Valley. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle for that information right there. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Anyways, take a listen to this. Here is a random joke for you. My mom gossips dyslexia. She talks in front of people's back. You get it? You get it? Okay, I hope you do. Anyways, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. Who's the all-time best TV mom? Yes, the best all-time TV mom. Okay. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 14% of kids under the age of 12 say that they think this is the hardest thing about being a mommy. What is it? Taking care of their dad. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going exclusively over to RadioBig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing so. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. I understand. Things do happen. And I get it. I get it, Edit. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together. If you can hang out on Safety FM and take a listen to what the hell Sheldon Primus has going on with the Safety Consultant Show, he talks about the business of becoming a safety consultant. So there you go. I hope you have a great time-o. If I can't leave you with a deep thought, I would love to leave you with this. A mother is she who can take place of all others, but whose place no one else can take. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.